Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a deep dive into something, well, absolutely fundamental to how you feel every single day, but it's often overlooked. We're talking about hydration. And our guide through this topic is a really insightful article from the Urban Herald.
A great source for this one.
You know that feeling, right? That afternoon slump, maybe a headache that creeps in, struggling to focus.
Oh, yeah.
So many of us just, power through, maybe grab another coffee or a snack.
Without thinking, it could be simpler.
Exactly. Without stopping to think about the simplest culprit, the Urban Herald article makes a really compelling case that this feeling off is often just our body kind of silently asking for water.
Yeah, the author mentioned their own experience too, didn't they? With headaches.
They did. Constant headaches,
Yeah.
only realizing later hydration was the missing piece. Really relatable.
And that's exactly why we wanted to dig into this article. Our mission today really is to unpack the core knowledge from this Urban Herald piece, the vital science behind it all, the sneaky reasons we fall short on water, and most importantly, the practical steps you can actually take right now. We want to show you how, by understanding this material, you can unlock, well, significant improvements in your energy and your health.
Sounds good. And who specifically needs to pay extra attention?
Well, the article points out this is particularly valuable for certain groups. Think active individuals, losing lots of fluid through sweat.
Right. Athletes and such.
Definitely. Also, office workers stuck in dry AC all day. Older adults, their thirst signals might not be as sharp.
I've heard that.
Pregnant or breastfeeding women, higher needs there. Anyone in hot climates, obviously. And even people on certain medications.
Right.
Honestly, the insights in this article, they really apply to pretty much everyone.
Okay, so let's get into the why. Why is water so critical? The Urban Herald article really lays out the science in a way that makes it hit home.
Yeah.
It's not just about thirst, is it? Water is literally what your body is made of. They highlight about 60% of your entire body is water.
60%.
And what really stood out to me, your brain is about 73% water.
73. That's huge. And it's fascinating how that impacts literally everything. The article details water's essential roles.
Like what?
Well, it's the transportation system, right?
Yeah.
Getting nutrients to your cells, getting waste out.
Okay.
It's your internal cooling system thing. Perspiration, sweating, it keeps your joints lubricated, helps your kidneys filter waste through urination.
So basically everything relies on it.
Pretty much. When you don't have enough water, think of it like a city trying to function with half the roads closed and the sanitation system backed up.
Good analogy.
Things just start breaking down. Performance dips.
And this isn't just about, being stranded in the desert kind of dehydration, is it?
No, not at all. The research cited in the Urban Herald article is quite striking. Even a mild dip, just a 2% loss of your body weight in fluid.
Only 2%?
Yeah, just 2%. Can significantly drag down both your physical and mental performance.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, physiologically, that 2% loss means your blood volume actually decreases.
Okay.
So your heart has to pump harder to move oxygen and nutrients around. That extra effort, that's precisely why you might feel that fatigue or struggle with concentration or find, exercise feels tougher.
It connects back to those symptoms.
Right. The article correctly identifies that proper hydration isn't some optional extra. It's absolutely foundational for your body to function optimally.
All right, so we know it's crucial, but the big question everyone asks is, how much? How much should I actually drink?
The eternal question.
For years, the go-to answer was always 8 glasses a day. Right. The Urban Herald article acknowledges that, but they make it crystal clear that it's really just a starting point.
Yeah, very much a starting point. Individual needs are incredibly variable.
So that 8x8 rule,
Yeah.
maybe not so useful.
It raises an important point. The article gives us some numbers from health authorities just to show that variation. Like the European Food Safety Authority suggests around 2.5 liters daily for men, 2 liters for women.
Right.
But then the U.S. Institute of Medicine goes higher, recommending 3.7 liters for men, 2.7 liters for women.
That's quite a difference.
It is. And what's key here, as the source notes, is that these figures include all fluids consumed, not just water from a tap of bottle, soups, juices, tea, coffee.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Food counts too, right?
Some, yes. We'll get to that. But the main point is your needs definitely aren't static. The article details specific situations where requirements shoot way up.
Like exercise.
Exactly. If you're exercising, you need an additional, say, 500 to 750 milliliters for every hour of activity.
Wow. Okay.
Hot weather can push some people's needs up towards 3 liters a day or even more. Pregnancy adds about 300 milliliters daily.
Right.
And if you're breastfeeding, that jumps to an extra 500 to 700 milliliters to support milk production, you know.
That really shows how that simple 8-glass rule just falls short for so many people in so many situations.
Totally does.
So if it's this important, and the science is clear, why is it so hard? Why do so many of us struggle to actually stay hydrated? The Urban Herald article lists some really common, relatable obstacles.
Yeah, the barriers are real.
One they call the modern epidemic, I think we can all relate, simply forgetting to drink.
Oh, absolutely. Guilty.
Our busy lives, right?
Yeah.
Constant demands, jumping from task to task. Hours can just fly by, and you suddenly realize you haven't had a sip of water.
And that leads to that unconscious kind of chronic state of being slightly underhydrated day after day.
Exactly. What else?
Well, what's fascinating here is another significant barrier the article identifies, just
Yeah,
not liking the taste of plain water.
really.
Yeah. If you're used to sugary drinks, sodas, juices, plain water can seem, well, bland, boring even.
I guess that makes sense.
So consistently choosing water becomes a genuine challenge for some people.
And here's one that I hear a lot, especially from people working in offices or jobs where breaks are tricky. Concerns about needing to pee frequently.
Ah, yes, the bathroom break issue.
The article makes a great point that this is actually a misguided worry. When you're dehydrated, your urine is more concentrated,
Right.
which can actually make the urge feel more sudden and frequent, more urgent.
Interesting. So being dehydrated makes it worse.
Kind of counterintuitive, right? But proper hydration leads to more diluted urine and generally more predictable, less urgent trips to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Typically every 3-4 hours, according to the source.
Okay, good to know. Another one they highlight is limited access to clean, safe water.
Right, that's a big one, depending on your situation.
Think about certain jobs mentioned, like construction workers out on site, delivery drivers constantly on the go.
Or healthcare professionals in PPE.
Exactly. Or even just traveling, being away from your usual routine and water source. In these scenarios, staying hydrated really requires conscious planning ahead.
Yeah, you can't just grab it easily.
Right.
And finally, the article brings up something I hadn't really thought about before. Confusing thirst with hunger.
Ah, the crossed signals.
Yeah. It's a kind of physiological miscommunication. Sometimes when you feel that pang, you interpret as hunger.
You reach for a snack.
Right. But your body might actually just be signaling thirst. So grabbing that snack leaves you still dehydrated and potentially adds unnecessary calories.
Double whammy.
Okay, so we've identified the problem, why it's important, and the hurdles. Now for the good stuff. The Urban Herald article gives us some fantastic, actionable strategies. How to actually improve hydration.
Let's get practical.
Technology is a great starting point, they mention. Smartphone apps, like I think they named Waterminder.
Yeah, there are quite a few apps like that.
They track your intake, send reminders. There are even smart water bottles now with sensors or lights.
The ones that glow at you.
Yeah, they automate those nudges. Or even just simple hourly alarms on your phone or fitness tracker can make a big difference. They sort of gamify it or just make it harder to forget.
Definitely helpful tools. And for the taste issue, making water more appealing is key for many. The article suggests natural flavoring.
So,
Just throwing in slices of cucumber, lemon, or lime. Maybe grab the zest for an extra kick and some vitamin C berries, mint leaves, orange slices.
there's little additions.
Super simple. It transforms plain water without adding sugar or artificial stuff. Herbal teas, hot or iced, are great too. Or sparkling water with natural fruit essences. Good alternatives to sugary drinks.
What really stands out in the article's breakdown of strategies, though, is how effective and, frankly, easy establishing simple daily habits can be.
The foundational stuff.
Yeah, it's about anchoring hydration to things you already do. Specific examples they mention are starting your day with a large glass of water, like right after waking up.
Good habit. Gets you ahead.
Another one, drinking a glass before each meal. The article also rates just keeping a reusable water bottle visible, like on your desk or in your car, as highly effective and easy.
The visual cue.
Exactly, it's a constant reminder. And using a larger bottle means fewer refills, makes hitting your target feel easier. They also mention specific workplace tips, like keeping that bottle right at your workstation and consciously choosing water breaks over coffee breaks sometimes.
Smart. And remember, it's not just about drinks. The article reminds us that about 20% of your fluid intake actually comes from food.
Right, the hydrating foods.
Yes. They list some amazing high water content options. Fruits like watermelon, 92% water, strawberries, 91%, cantaloupe, 90%.
Wow, mostly water.
And vegetables are often even higher. Cucumber is 96% water, lettuce, 95%, tomatoes, 95%.
So adding salads, fruit snacks.
Exactly. Integrating these into your diet is a delicious way to boost hydration and get extra vitamins and nutrients. Win-win.
Okay, another tactic the article highlights is surprisingly simple but effective. Monitoring your hydration status through urine color.
The pee test. Sounds basic, but it works.
It does. Pale yellow, like straw, means you're well hydrated. Darker yellow suggests you're starting to get dehydrated.
And really dark.
Very dark amber or brown is a sign of severe dehydration, needing urgent attention. The article stresses this is often more reliable than just waiting until you feel thirsty.
Good point. What else for monitoring?
They also mention just noticing how often you urinate every 3-4 hours is typical if you're well hydrated. And for athletes, weighing yourself before and after exercise to measure fluid loss accurately, helpful monitoring tactics.
Makes sense. Finally, the article emphasizes proactive hydration, or prehydration, you could call it, especially before activities where you know you'll lose fluid.
Like planning ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For exercise, the source recommends drinking about 400, 600 milliliters, maybe 2-4 hours beforehand, then sipping 150, 250 milliliters every 15-20 minutes during the activity.
Yeah. And after.
Post-exercise, you should aim to replace 150% of the fluid you lost. So if you lost a liter, drink 1.5 liters back over the next few hours.
Got it.
And this principle applies elsewhere too, right? Hydrate well before a long meeting, before travel, or before spending time out in hot weather. Be prepared.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. The Urban Herald article also briefly touches on those specific group needs. Again, like athletes needing optimal fluid for peak performance, or older adults maybe not feeling thirsty even when they need water. Little reminders for those situations.
Important nuances.
And they take on some common myths about hydration that are definitely worth debunking. I think we've all heard these.
Oh, yeah. Let's bust some myths.
Myth number 1. You need exactly 8 glasses of water every single day. No more, no less.
Hey, magic number 8.
Right. The article explains clearly why this is just an oversimplification. Your size, how active you are, the climate you live in, your overall health status, all these things change your individual needs. It's definitely not a universal rule.
Absolutely not. Myth number 2. Coffee and tea dehydrate you. Total myth, right?
Well, mostly. It's a classic. The article clarifies that while caffeine does have a mild diuretic effect,
Meaning it makes you pee a bit more.
yeah, a little extra fluid loss, but the overall fluid content of the drink itself, the water in the coffee or tea, means moderate consumption usually contributes to your hydration.
Especially if you drink it regularly.
Exactly. Tolerance builds up. It's only with really excessive amounts, say more than 3 or 4 strong cups, that you might see a net loss of fluid. But a cup or 2? Probably hydrating overall.
To clarify.
And myth number 3, maybe the most dangerous one, thirst is an accurate indicator of when you need to drink. Just wait till you're thirsty.
This one is really important to debunk.
It is. The article strongly refutes this. Thirst is actually a late signal. You're typically already 2-3% dehydrated by the time you feel that thirst kick in.
So you're already behind.
Exactly. And as we discussed, it can be confused with hunger, and it becomes less reliable as we get older. Relying only on thirst means you're always playing catch-up.
Proactive, habit-based strategies are much more effective, like drinking on a schedule or using those reminders.
Precisely. Don't wait for thirst. So we've talked about why it matters, how much you might need, the reasons it can be hard, and all these specific ways to fix it. What's the payoff? What happens when you actually put in this effort? The Urban Herald article spells out some, frankly, massive benefits.
The good stuff.
Let's go back to the brain first, that 73% water statistic. The article highlights that optimal hydration significantly improves cognitive function.
How so?
Better concentration, sharper memory, clearer decision-making. They even mention a study where students who focused on hydration showed improved performance on tests.
Wow.
Proper hydration supports the neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers your brain relies on for everything. Thinking clearly, complex tasks, it all needs water.
Makes sense. And for physical performance, the benefits are huge, too.
Like what?
Enhanced endurance, less fatigue during workouts, better body temperature regulation, more efficient cardiovascular function, the heart doesn't have to work quite as hard, and better joint lubrication, less creaking.
And remember that statistic.
The 2% dehydration cutting performance by up to 25%.
Yeah,
Staying well hydrated really keeps your body working at its peak potential.
definitely. And what about something maybe a bit more visible, like skin health?
Ah, yes, the glow. The article notes that consistent water intake improves skin elasticity and just its overall appearance, especially when you combine it with good moisturizing habits, of course.
Right.
It helps support the skin's natural barrier function and its detoxification processes. It's not, a magic bullet for wrinkles overnight, but it definitely contributes to healthier looking skin over time.
Okay. And weight management. Is there a link there?
There is, actually. The article explains a couple of mechanisms. Drinking water, especially before meals, can increase feelings of fullness.
So you eat less.
Potentially, yeah. They cite research suggesting maybe up to a 13% reduction in calorie intake at that meal. Plus, hydration supports your metabolism and thermogenesis. That's your body's process of generating heat and burning calories. And there's a clear correlation mentioned in the article between people who are adequately hydrated and those who have healthier body composition metrics like lower overall weight, less body fat, smaller waist circumference.
So it helps support those efforts.
Yeah.
What about internal health?
Yeah.
Digestion, kidneys.
Absolutely crucial there. Sufficient water helps produce saliva and digestive juices, keeps your digestive tract moving smoothly to help prevent constipation.
Nobody wants that.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
It also significantly reduces the risk of developing painful kidney stones, supports overall kidney function and flushing out waste products, and it can even reduce the risk of urinary tract infections or UTIs.
So benefits across the board, really, inside and out.
Pretty much covers all the bases. But while focusing on hydration is key, the article also provides really crucial information on recognizing when things go wrong. Severe dehydration.
Right, the warning signs. This is important.
Very. Watch out for persistent dizziness or confusion, a rapid heartbeat that won't slow down, sunken eyes, extremely dark urine, or maybe no urination at all for many hours. Persistent vomiting where you can't keep fluids down, signs of shock like cold, clammy skin, or any altered mental status. These are red flags.
If you see those,
That's a medical emergency. The article stresses seeking immediate medical help, especially if it's happening in older adults or people with chronic health conditions. Don't wait.
good advice. What about less severe but ongoing issues?
Yeah, the article also adds that if you find you struggle chronically to stay hydrated, even when you're really trying these tips, it's worth consulting a healthcare provider.
Why is that?
There could be an underlying medical condition or maybe a medication you're taking that's affecting your fluid balance. Things like kidney disorders, diabetes, hormonal imbalances need to be ruled out.
Okay.
And one more vital note from the article. For anyone with specific health conditions like, say, heart failure or certain types of kidney disease, where fluid intake actually needs to be restricted.
Right, where drinking too much is dangerous.
Exactly. For those individuals, the article stresses you must work closely with your medical team. Don't just follow general advice. You need a safe hydration plan tailored specifically to you.
Crucial point. Okay, so bringing it all together, the core takeaway from this Urban Herald article seems incredibly empowering.
It really is.
Making hydration a conscious priority isn't just some minor tweak. It has the power to genuinely improve your health, boost your energy levels day to day, and really enhance your overall quality of life.
Totally agree. Like the author's personal story highlighted in the piece, right? Seeing those nagging headaches finally disappear, skin looking healthier, energy crashes fading away.
Yeah.
The simple act of just drinking enough water consistently can have surprisingly dramatic positive effects.
So our encouragement to you, listening right now, is maybe just start small. You don't have to overhaul everything overnight.
Exactly. Baby steps.
Pick one or two strategies from the article that seem easiest for you to implement. Maybe it is just starting your day with that glass of water, or keeping a bottle where you can see it all day, or setting a simple hourly alarm on your phone.
Or experiment with adding some fruit or herbs to your water to make it more appealing. Add a few more of those hydrating foods, watermelon, cucumber, to your grocery list.
Yeah, and consistency over perfection is key, right?
Absolutely. Don't worry if you miss a day or fall short sometimes. Every glass counts, and even modest improvements will start to yield benefits. And remember the article's key point: don't wait for thirst.
Be proactive. Great advice. So we've gone deep today into why water is so essential, what your actual needs might look like beyond those old rules,
Mm-hmm.
the common traps that catch us out, the practical, actionable ways to stay hydrated, and the really amazing payoff you get when you make it a priority.
It covers a lot. And as the Urban Herald article thoughtfully concludes, your body depends on adequate hydration for countless vital functions. Your future self will thank you for making hydration a priority in your daily routine.
Excellent parting words. This has been a deep dive into the essential topic of hydration, guided by the fantastic insights from the Urban Herald article. Thanks for joining us.